This is your Philly station, WLYH TV 15.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tim Ryan, and welcome to this final edition of CBS Sports Sunday telecast from France. Well, it is literally a party here in Paris today, a victory parade for the leader, and a salute to the survivors. And we'll celebrate with all of France, and we'll bring you the tense battles of the past week for the right to wear the yellow jersey today. And later on CBS Sports, a dramatic change of venue, Talladega, Alabama, where Dale Earnhardt will try to widen his NASCAR points lead in the 500. And a touch of France from the Midwest, Grand Blanc, Michigan, for the final round of the Buick Open. But first, the Tour de France. And over the 26 torturous days that have led here to Paris, perhaps the most significant was last Sunday. An individual time trial, one man against the clock, uphill. The French call it the race of truth.
It's only a mountain, one of many you can see on this French country morning. But for 171 young men, it would be a place where they would dare to ask themselves the questions of greatness. This mountain where 171 came willing to pay perhaps the final price for their quest. Of the Tour de France was chiseled into these walls and blocks by men willing to ask more of themselves, knowing that this time for some, the answers from their bodies would be no more. For Andy Hampton, at 25 years old from North Dakota, the day began with hopes of a climb to victory. Instead, with each push of his legs, each gasp for more air, the answer would come back, no, this would not be his year. His yellow jersey was the destiny of another. He would not be alone. To the mountain. As a 7-year-old, he earned a month for his first high school by sweeping down the floor. Today, he was flying down to the track, and the mountain was out. How high? How long? How fast? One rider, the questions were to have long since been answered. Pedro Delgado's quest for glory had been answered so thoroughly in the past by close finishes and personal tragedy. Yesterday, he was there to answer again when the mountain repeated its relentless challenge. How high? How far? How fast? Carrying the heaviest load of all, the thirst of a nation longing for a hero. Not just any hero, but one who would fit the classic mold of the great Bernard Hinault.
For the 5th straight year, we at CBS Sports are proud and happy to bring you the greatest bicycle race on earth. Welcome to the Tour de France. Paris, the city every rider in the Tour de France dreams of. Hello, everybody. I'm John Dockery. And over one-third of those riders who began in Berlin almost a month ago will not see the finish here today. For the survivors, this has been one of the more brutal tours in history. And Phil Liggett, this past week in the Alps, bizarre and torturous.
John, this has been the most viciously competitive race I think I can recall. And you know why? Because in West Berlin, 12 riders really felt they could win this Tour de France. And now in the Alps, we're down to 3. Jean-Francois Bernard of France, Stephen Roche of Ireland, and Pedro Delgado of Spain. From those 3, John, one will be the winner of this Tour.
And Phil, we're going to take a look at their struggle in the mountains right after this.
CBS Sports Sunday is sponsored by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. Price Pfister, the fabulous faucet with a funny name. And by Kemper and the independent insurance agents who represent us. Once you compare Kemper, you'll ride with us.
As the riders prepared for the tough week ahead in the Alps, Jean-Francois Bernard fancied himself in his newly acquired yellow jersey. Stephen Roche had some trouble with his fit. He was wearing a special jersey usually reserved for the Tour's second-place man. Perhaps a swap with Bernard could be arranged. Pedro Delgado was still in his team colors, but talked about changing to yellow with an attack in the mountains.
J'espère parce que pour moi, je préfère les montagnes que les courses plats.
Lucho Herrera, the sleeper in this year's Tour, dreamt of a colored jersey all his own.
Moi, je trouve que le jaune, ça me va pas mal.
But now is the time that now if we see he's on a bad day, or we can leave him behind a little. Nobody waits now.
And so with the thought that nobody waits from now on, the survivors of this vicious race leave Valrias and head 116 miles into the Alps and Villard-de-Lans. Hadn't been hard enough already, from now on it was going to be inside the very heart of Dante's Inferno. The men who have suggested a victory for over 2 weeks now have to prove their quality, and soon the pressure goes on to break the spirit of the rest. Pedro Delgado is almost 4 minutes behind Jean-Francois Bernard, and he soon joined in the attack with Stephen Roche to gain time. And the man missing from this group of escapers is the yellow jersey himself of new leader Bernard. The Frenchman's first day in yellow was turning out to be a nightmare. Attacked from all sides, his recovery was being hampered by a flat tyre, and the leaders ahead were offering no quarter. This was a chance to eliminate another challenger from an ever-changing race pattern. Bernard was launched back into the race, but in just a few hours he's found the lonely world of being a leader. Of the top 5 in the race, only Bernard was missing, and as the hills steepen, Delgado launches his attack. Stephen Roche is the only one to react to the Spaniard's expected move. You never let a climber go too far away, and Roche didn't. Behind, Bernard is already out of his yellow jersey. The Mont Ventoux is a dream now. At the finish, Delgado and Roche are still together. But while Delgado sprints clear for the stage victory, Roche, who started the day in second place with a better overall time than Delgado, will be only the 3rd Irishman in history to lead the Tour de France. On this first day in the Alps, 2 riders have projected themselves as the strongmen of the Tour. Are the mountains ready to reveal their secrets?
La plante des pieds chauffe énormément dans ces circonstances et se débarrasser
So Roche is in yellow now, the first Irishman since Sean Kelly in 1983.
As you look at the standings, Roche is the leader, but Delgado and Bernard are very close behind. Andy Hampston is out of contention. And on the next morning, before the trip to Alpe d'Huez, Roche didn't let his colors change his personality. Perhaps taking a cue from his affable adversary, Pedro Delgado also found time for some easygoing fun. And as the riders started on their 126-mile journey through the Alps, ending at the second highest finish in this year's race, they had to be thinking of one of the Tour's great obstacles, the final climb to Alpe d'Huez. Today's stage would indeed be a showdown. But at least one rider had something else on his mind. 1 year ago, on this very same road, in this very same stage, Pedro Delgado, in the same position of strong contender, abandoned the Tour. He had learned the night before of his mother's death and decided to continue his quest for the yellow. But during the race, Delgado was overcome with the reality of the news and could not go on.
¿Qué ha llegado?
No, es que ya ma mère est morte.
Ah oui, d'accord.
But this year, Pedro Delgado, with eyes on Stephen Roche's yellow jersey, will finish his trip to Alpe d'Huez and dedicate it to his mother.
A year is a long time in a professional rider's career. They say you only have 8 of them. Now Pedro Delgado was inspired. He was riding with one thought, to dedicate a race victory to the memory of his mother. He's recognised Stephen Roche as his only challenger, and the only place to beat him is in the mountains. On the day's last climb of Alpe d'Huez, he was on the attack. Roche was left on the 6,100 feet climb, which has 22 switchbacks to lift it to its summit. Delgado was now putting him under pressure, the same pressure that cost Bernard his lead the day before. And riding like a demon, Delgado had to finish 79 seconds in front of Roche. With no help from the followers, Roche was carrying the full weight of a Tour that still could find no solid leader. But one thing was certain, the ladder to Alpe d'Huez was eliminating everyone else in the victory in Paris. Through the now familiar corridor of noise, Delgado nears the summit, still searching for the seconds that will give him a yellow jersey on the anniversary of the death of his mother. Roche has no answer to a man driven by such emotion. The Irishman can only hope he lives to fight another day. On the cruelest of mountains, Delgado doesn't slow down, while ironically, Roche has to follow behind Bernard, the man he destroyed the previous day. On top of the mountain, Delgado feels on top of the world. This was for his mother. Yes, this really was Pedro Delgado's day. He was the new yellow jersey for the first time in his career. And while he remembers his mother, his sister was having her first child. Could he be the first Spanish winner since 1973? If he anticipates final victory in Paris, he'll have to continue to attack in the mountains to come. And the next day will be the most difficult here in the Alps. For Roche, he's dropped to second place in this seesaw race. He can't lose any more time if he holds any hope of final victory. After 1,400 miles in 21 days, the Tour has left its scars. So Delgado leads and Roche hovers at 25 seconds behind. The rest are now out of contention. We're down to the 2 who can win. But there are more surprises in a race where the riders always change the script. We'll be back.
That does it for today's adventure. If you're new here, please subscribe. Take it one step further and ring that notification bell. And if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a big old like and a thumbs up. It lets me know you care. I'll see you in the next video. Ride on.